Dear anyone, not just the brand, but anyone wanting to make a cardistry tutorial, here are 5 steps on how to make a better tutorial that people can actually learn from. Step 1. Get a camera and set it up properly. It doesn't matter if it's a real camera, a phone camera, even a computer camera. Just get a camera and make sure there's good lighting to where people can actually see the cards. Step 2. Angles. Now, a variety of angles is preferred, but the absolute most important angle that you must have is a first-person perspective angle or an over-the-shoulder perspective. As long as it's similar to a first-person perspective that people can see from their own eyes onto the cards, that's the best way to learn. It gives the best perspective of how the cards will look in the own learner's hands. Now, front view, top view, bottom view can all be helpful, but they're probably not going to be near as helpful as the first person one. So just do your best to have good angles, and to achieve these angles, you're probably going to want a tripod. And if you don't have a tripod, build a tripod. You can just stack books onto shelves, onto chairs, and then have your phone lay against that. Or if you don't have either of these options, if you can, maybe find someone to film over the shoulder while you're performing the move. And speaking of performing the move, this leads us to step 3, which is performing the move at different speeds. Now you see with a lot of demos, it's all just one single slow motion, or maybe a few slow motions of the same move. But even that slow motion is not even slow enough for someone to follow along. In my personal opinion, there should be at least one performance of the move at normal speed, possibly one slow motion, and one performance of the move at a very, very, very slow speed. This performance is actually the tutorial where you are explaining every mechanic of the move. And this leads us onto step 4. Explain the mechanics. You know how in school, when you're like writing an essay, they'll say, show, don't tell. Yeah. Well, this is not school and you're not writing an essay. This is a tutorial. So please explain what you're doing. Tell every single finger position, move, mechanic, any little thing that might seem trivial might actually be important. So actually what you want to do is both. You want to show and tell, and preferably you are telling using your voice or even a voice. If you use text to explain the mechanics, sometimes it's very difficult to read the text while also trying to look at what your hands are doing. So you're trying to look at 2 things at once, which doesn't really work, does it? But if you are listening and looking, that's a lot easier for us humans to do. Now I know some people though may be camera shy and have trouble talking to the camera at first. That was definitely me whenever I first started this channel. Clearly I've gotten better at talking. Practice talking to the camera and it will get more comfortable for you to do. Or if you really don't want to use your voice because you think people may hate it for some reason, use an AI voice. It doesn't matter.
Hi, I can talk in the tutorial for you.
Just a voice is going to be a lot easier to learn from than trying to read and look at the cards at the same time. And say what you are doing. Be as specific and detailed as you can. Now there may be times, especially if the cards is like really good, they're like, oh, this mechanic is so natural for me that I don't really realize I'm doing it. Well, maybe if you just watched a video and slowed it down and actually specifically look to see where your hands go, that would probably be easier. You may not realize that you're doing a regrip in the moment when you actually perform the move, but surely you are more likely to realize it if you just watch a video of yourself doing it and actually look for that kind of thing. Now some of these explaining things may be easier for me to say because I am a detail person. I like catching details and noticing them and stuff like that. But I really think that if you just film a video of yourself performing the move and actually look to see where your hands go, it'll be easier for you to point those things out to the learner. You can learn to notice details, even if you're not so much of a detail person like I am. You just want to point out as many things as you can to the learner to make it easier for them to learn the move. And finally, step 5, mention any problems that you may have encountered or come up with a problem that someone else may encounter and then come up with a solution to that problem. Surely you ran into at least one problem while practicing your own move, or you can think of a realistic problem that someone else may encounter and come up with a solution for it. So identify a problem and a solution for it. This will help speed up the learning process for the learner so that when they encounter this problem, they already know how to fix it. Or even just give them basic tips, such as using a newer deck if it's a spread, or a clumpy deck if it's a packet cut. These tips can really make a big impact on the learning curve, speed up the learning process. And that's how you make better cardistry tutorials. And if there were better cardistry tutorials, channels like Rise Magic or my channel don't have to exist. Wait, I'm just kidding. I actually really love Rise Magic and their other videos because they also have other videos other than troubleshooting videos. But my point is, there wouldn't need to be as many troubleshooting videos or just tutorials on the same exact move if the first tutorial was good in the first place. So this was just meant to be helpful for those trying to create cardistry tutorials for other people and want to actually be helpful and help them learn. Demos are of course still possible to learn from, but if you really want to make a good tutorial, those were my tips on how to make better tutorials. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this was helpful and somewhat entertaining as well. Be sure to like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you next time.